Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Certainly, I want to thank Pastor Crum for filling in at this very moment that things happen and change. And I do realize that, of course, being a minister, he knows how to be impromptu on things like that and get the job done. So thank you. And certainly, he went back into an area that try to forget sometime in terms of all those years we had at Tifton, but he was a student there, and we had a fellowship there during that time with his family and other brothers and sisters that while we worked together at Tifton. So again, thank you, Pastor Crum. I would like to acknowledge the fact that Jim Stallings, as you know, his wife Betty has been up and down over the last most many months, and she's currently in Selma in the hospital, and I've gone by to see her on several occasions. And in that situation, he doesn't know exactly sometimes where he may have to do, but I appreciate Jim for being here and trying to be a part of this particular program today. And Chief Stokes, thank you for leading that part. Frederica Spivey, young lady I met, I guess about 2 months ago, really. Frederica indicated that she would like to sing, and said that she wanted to sing at the 4th of July celebration. Came by the office and talked to me, and came by to do an audition, really. And of course, and she did an audition in the office, and didn't have to hear but a few words and told her, fine. We don't have to go no further than that. And she did do some singing for us last week at one of the programs we had. And she's a student at Wallace College. She graduated from Selma High School. And as we said earlier, she's our discovery. So we're going to put Farika on the contract at some point in time, that type of singing. But thank you very much, Farika. And again, I thank Dr. Williamson, who's president of the City Council, for his leadership in that area, as well as all council members who are present. Thank all of you for being here tonight, and hopefully it is my plan to try to get finished through the presentation within an hour. We had a good day today at 12 noon, and we did finish pretty much in an hour's time, and we kind of ran a little over this afternoon. But there are several little housekeeping things I'd like to mention to you. First of all, there are cards that you should have gotten when you came in. Please get a card. If there are any questions that you might have pertaining to things that are said tonight or not said, please complete the card and give it to one of the, Charlotte, who is that, who is going to pick up those cards? Well, anyway, in the back, they have the cards in the back, and Ms. Hanson will pick up the cards if you want to pass some out in terms of questions that you might have pertaining to the subject tonight. I'd like to also acknowledge Ms. Lisa Carson, who's here with us. Where are you, Ms. Lisa? In the back there. She's from Sweden, and she's actually videoing this State of the City address. She's a television reporter. We also have Wayne. Is Wayne still here? Wayne Thomas? Wayne was here this afternoon, but he's here from Ohio University, and he's doing some videoing as well of our city. I'd like for all the department heads to please stand. City department heads, you stand, the ones who are here tonight, around us, okay? They were here, the others were here this morning. Thank you very much. And all the employees that are here, would you please stand, employees that might be here this morning. We had a whole lot of them here. Just thank you so much for coming out tonight. I know this morning that many of you could come, did come, and thank you for your presence here tonight. Now to move along with the presentation of the talk about the State of the City address, I want to go through and talk about a few things. And first of all, I want to say it's indeed an honor today to present the State of the City address to each of you. Let me say at the outset that the state of the city is very, very strong. When cities all around us are slashing their budgets, cutting services, laying off personnel, I'm proud that measures the city of Selma took allowed us to steer a steady course in 2011 and into the future. The guiding principle of the past year was do more with less. And we have certainly done that. My sincere thanks to the dedicated employees of the City of Selma who worked hard with fewer resources and still were able to provide satisfactory levels of service to our citizens. Selma is on the move. Selma is truly on the move. Spurred by investments in infrastructure and amenities by the city government, businesses and individuals are once again investing in Selma. Signs of progress are everywhere. Great things are happening in Selma. I'm proud to serve as your mayor. I'd like to go over the overview of things and talking about some things you see here before you. I'm a visual learner, as I think most of you are. We're going to talk about Selma at a glance, and we're talking about the fact that Selma is the third oldest city in the state of Alabama. Mobile being one, Montgomery being two. And we're proud to be a city that was founded in 1820. We have 320 employees. The population of Selma is about at 20,756 people based on the last census we had. We talk about the ratio. You can see the ratio, the median age, gender by male or female, land area, density, and household. We have approximately 8,079 households in our city. And then, of course, the educational status, as well as college and unemployment status in our city. Next. Challenging things that faced us in 2011. Continuing economic recession. I think that faced all citizens, and I know it placed a bearing on the country as well. Decline in tax revenues, increase in operating costs, rise in violent crimes, critical infrastructure needs, trash and litter, equipment breakdowns, neighborhood revitalization, downtown and riverfront redevelopment, as well as retention and creation of jobs in our city. Let's talk about briefly the accomplishments we have been able to do here in city government with the help of the council, with the help of citizens, to make things happen that we can all be proud of today. We balanced the budget of 2012. We trimmed operating costs. We completed most bond projects, and most of the bond projects are completed with the exception of projects dealing with our IT program as well as the program in some of our buildings. Completed the visitors area of the Interpretive Center. Completed the Phoenix Park. Completed Riverfront Park walking trail as we dedicated it. Completed Water Avenue Streetscape project as you've gone down Water Street. Completed North Broad Street drainage, and that was a long project. Still some work still to be done. And Tiplet Drive drainage improvement, and completed the Interpretive Center facelift. I think as you've gone by and you've seen the facelift that took place at the Interpretive Center. Let's talk about the other accomplishments. We had so many different individuals and companies that partnered with us. The military reservists on Riverfront and the medical assistant projects that are on the way, and this team of military will be back in our city again this spring to work with us on that. Continued code enforcement efforts to demolish structures and clean up neighborhoods. Held successful quarterly citywide cleanup days, and we did those quarterly, and we're going to continue that again starting next month, because by next month we should have the 2 new cells built where we can do that again. And we'll have to drive to Uniontown every day as we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 months, taking trash there because of the fact that the landfill out there was filling up and was not able to do that. We hosted the Dixie Major Baseball Tournament. We worked to retain jobs and recruit new industry and retail businesses with the Chamber and EDA. Bigger and better 4th of July celebration we had. I think you all remember that. We had cooperation and help from the Selma Time-Journal, the county commissions, and the Chamber all worked with us to put that on this past year. And naturally, as you know, we're going to be bringing the Alabama High School track meet to Selma for 3 years beginning in May. It'll be back in Selma. It used to be here many, many years ago. And we'll have so many young people all over the state of Alabama will be here in Selma living in our hotels as well as living, eating our food in restaurants and enjoying the track meet that we have here, that all of you helped to make happen through the bond project that you promoted and sold and made happen. And again, I thank you for that. Partnerships in 2011, and there are a lot of them. I won't try to even go through all of them. I'll let you scan through the ones. And then I know that probably there may be someone that's been left off. It wasn't done intentionally. So if there is somebody that possibly believes that you've been a partnership and we, for some reason, left you off in trying to put this together, I want to apologize to you right now. But these are the areas of partnerships that we identified that have been working with the city to make the city what it is today. If it were not for these partnerships, I'm convinced that the things and accomplishments we've made would not have been possible without these groups working with us to make this happen. Let's talk about an overview on initiatives. As you know, I created the program with the Stop and Observe a minute of silence as it relates to our veterans, those who lost their lives, that we might have the freedoms that we currently enjoy. We instituted that program some 3 years ago, and it's always done on that time during Memorial Day. They also, as you can see, citywide cleanup days. There's a group of young people who helped me. We worked as a team with a lot more other young people to get the trash up and litter in our city, and I enjoyed working with them. Let's Move. This is a program that, you know, our First Lady Michelle Obama put together, and of course we did it here in Selma. Jeannie Evans, First Lady of Selma, helped make this happen with a lot of your help. A lot of you volunteered with the young people as well as adults to make that happen, and thank you again for that. Well, we're working now to have the Inspirational Achievers Award that will take place in May. All of our schools, private and public, will be a part of that program where we're going to acknowledge and recognize young people who achieve in our school system, who may have sometimes got left out, and they don't have to be a Val or a Sal to achieve this award. It goes along with all of the things that in terms of progress. The mayor's charity golf classes, a very wonderful event. We've raised money for that for the past 2 years, and naturally it was a success this past year. Even though the weather handicapped us some, it still went off well, and we'll be calling a meeting of the committee to talk about the funding to also give that money to those agencies. There are 6 agencies that we give this money to for the benefit of helping those special needs children in our city as well as in our county. The next item would be the City Department Showcase. We've always had an annual showcase right here where we have the city departments all on display and talking to you as citizens about what they do and how we can be of more help to you as servants for the city of Selma. Let's look at the budget. Our 2012 budget revenue. As you can see, our expected revenue is right at $17,141,567, and it's broken down in the pie shape. As you can see, our greatest income from revenue, it comes from sales tax. 60% of our funding comes from sales tax. 15% comes from license and permits. 6%, roughly 6.9, ad valorem, which has to do with properties. Other tax, 8.3, which actually addresses beer, wine, gas, and things of this nature. And then fees for service, 9.2. This is money that comes into our city that allows us to do what we do from the standpoint of $17 million as revenue. Keeping in mind that we're paying out roughly about $10.3 million for our jobs and benefits, for our salaries and benefits. We pay out of that 10.3 million goes towards salaries and benefits in the city. But that 63 cents, that's why we encourage so many citizens to shop Selma. And we encourage so many retail businesses to come. And I want to thank Ms. Cheryl Smetley. I think I saw Cheryl earlier here, that has helped so faithfully in helping us to obtain retail businesses, because that's the key to our success as far as funding coming into our city. The expenditures, as you can see, this is a breakdown of how the money is dispersed during the budget season. As you can see, public safety, that public safety involves fire and police. 38.7% goes toward that. You see public works, 10.6% goes toward the public works department, the trash, the garbage, and so on, sewer projects that in our city. Departmental operations, that's every other department in our city. 24.4% comes out of our budget for that. General government, 15.5. That's the basic things we do to stay afloat. And others could be 10.8. And that, the other debt service agencies we pay money to, tree commission, landfill, historic commission, all that makes up the other part, that's 10.8. Let's move to the area of crime statistics. Under the area of crime statistics, as you can see, murder in 2011 has been reduced. Felony assaults has a slight increase in our city. Robbery, substantial increase in the city in 2011 and 10 versus 10. Rape was an increase in our city. And you have the breakdown of the numbers at the bottom that allots for those number of incidents or occasions that these particular statistics reflected, that each council person gets at each monthly meeting of the breakdown of where they occurred in our city. Every one of them get monthly the breakdown of the things that are happening in everyone's ward with the date, time of incident. Continuing with this, auto theft. You can see that's pretty much maintained the same level as the previous year. Break-ins, it's reduction. Burglary, a reduction. Traffic, well, that could be good and could be bad. But traffic means that they're giving a lot of tickets for people doing some things, speeding or whatever the case may be, and stop signs or whatever, but that's an increase in revenue because of traffic violations by those persons who choose to do it the other way. Then, of course, the noise is one of those things I believe it's gotten better compared to what it used to be with the noise figure, even though there may be some still that we need to do more, and I would not debate that. Let's talk about crime. I want to say to you, for every reported murder for 2011 in our city, a suspect or suspect has been apprehended. In other words, we have no murders on the book in 2011 that was not apprehended by our police department. And I want to thank them for the job they did doing that. We do have, if I'm not mistaken, we have roughly over the years, and this is from over the years, we have maybe 2 unsolved murders, I think I'm correct, that may be still pending out there. But from 2011, all murder cases, the suspects are either in jail, in prison per se, on trial to come and be judged one way or the other. Thank you, police department. Let's talk about the crime statistics, what is being done. Our police department and I met, and we talked about some things that would be beneficial and helpful. And we're asking you as citizens to help us do many of these things that will keep us a lot on these problems. And I won't necessarily read them, but I'm requesting high bonds on repeated offenders to keep them in jail is one thing that we've tried to do. And of course, those bonds, they have a way of getting out through the bond attorneys and so forth, bond companies at least. We're working on that. We're working on closely with local salvage yards to watch for stolen items that people steal and take out there. We're working hard to try to resolve that matter. We have a $1,000 reward offered on every violent, serious case through Crime Stoppers, and that's something that the Crime Stoppers created many, many years ago. I think started some years with Tommy Atchison's father, Billy Atchison, who put that in place, and they have a great program with that. So these are just some things we can do to help police services in our city. Then continuing what citizens can do, create a neighborhood watch program, our business program. That's very important. Call Crime Stoppers for anonymously with a tip for things like that. Watch shows. If you witness a crime, it is your civic duty to contact the police with that information. Work with, not against, local police force to solve old as well as cold cases. So these are suggestions as we're working on trying to get our citizens to get involved and help us to solve crime. Bond projects. Again, I want to say to all of you that the bond projects, or the bond was a necessity long ago and still is today. And I want to thank you for passing that bond, because I'm convinced without a doubt, if the bond had not passed, our city would be in dire straits in terms of that bond. The bond was so needed, and we'll thank the Mayor Perkins for initially introducing that many years ago. I was on the council at that time, and some others were here when that was introduced before the council. But the bond was needed then. It was needed when the system passed, and I want to thank you very much for passing the bond, because it has made a significant difference in the lives of our citizens and our quality of life as well. But you can see that, thank you. But just to demonstrate equipment, you see the tractor, the bush hog, we use that to keep the grass down. Fire department truck there, police cars that are there that we purchased through the bond process projects. Move on to the street resurfacing. As you can see, we had a problem at the left on before Maple Street that had that cave in, and we had to repair that. As you can see, it has been repaired, and afterwards it reflects that. Dallas and Selma Avenue, Martha King Street, all of those streets has been done through the bond project and making those streets. Even one street I know you all agree that Marie Foster problem, in my opinion, prior to being resurfaced, was one of our worst streets to travel down some years ago, but that has been completed. And the majority of our streets were completed. We didn't get all the streets in our city. The city council and mayor had to set priorities as to which streets will be done first. And that's, some streets maybe got left. We only could move the money as far as we could take it based on what we had, and set some priorities as to which would be first, and so on and so forth. This is sewer improvement, as you can see. On Franklin Street was one of the sewer projects where to the left. And then, of course, Philpott Street. We also did some work, $760,000 on Franklin and Jerome Street. Jerome over by Chad Academy School. Walmart, we had to go all the way back behind the old Walmart and do that, Valley Grand Creek and all like that. So all of these funds to help to alleviate some of the problems we had in our city. Still on, and with buildings, this building you're in right now, the first one to your left, right there, this is what we have. I remember last year or year before, when we came in here, you know how the ceilings were leaking, and some cases wasn't even one there. And as you can see, that money went toward doing that here in the city, and of course, interior and exterior renovations, outside and inside, even with the roof here at the convention center. But we're still working on the air conditioning here. There's still some things with that we're going to have to work on and get taken care of. Moving on to Memorial Stadium, Block Park, as you can see, that's the track that U.S. citizen made happen for us to do a new track there. And that's why we're going to have this track meet here come May. The Memorial Stadium, the area here, keeping in mind that those bleachers, we didn't replace bleachers, didn't have enough money to replace bleachers, but we did sandblast and repaint and did things like that based on that. The track was built, the lighting for the football lighting is all brand new. The press box, redone, paint, and so on. The restrooms are completely brand new in terms of the equipment there, baseball, commodes and things like that. All of that, the dressing rooms at the Memorial Stadium are brand new, expanding with central air and heat in those dressing rooms. So that's a good project that each of you helped to make happen. Let's go to operations. And basic on the public safety police department, as you can see, we hired about 7 new police officers, and since that time, you know, because of the salary pay our police officers, sometimes we lose them, and we're working now to try to find ways to get more money into the budget to pay police officers as well as fire department, as well as all of our citizens more money. We're losing police officers because of someone else pays more, and we have around 40, actually we have about 53 officers right now, and we're looking to hopefully we'd love for us to have at least 65 or more. So everywhere you turn in our city, you'll see a police officer somewhere riding or walking on a bike or something like that. But that's a long-range goal that hopefully we will get enough money to hire more police officers, fire department, more employees, and give them more money, because our employees, I'm telling you, they deserve more pay. And in my talking with them, I've shared that with them, and it's just something that, based on the budget, if anyone can find more money in the budget that we currently have, that we can go pay out more, please show me if in our budget. The budget is what it is what it is. Every penny is going toward the needs of our employees and our citizens like yourself. So if there's some genius idea that could help me determine that this money can be done some other way, I'll listen. I'll be happy to hear your concern about how we can pay more money to salaries to our employees and raise the thing. Because one thing about salaries, if you give a raise to your employees, you must continue it. You can't give it 1 year and take it back the next year because funds drop. It is a continuous process, and I know I've talked to one or two persons in terms of with the council president, a way of trying to find a bonus maybe, even a bonus to give our employees, provided funds are there, and we have to give everybody a bonus. You cannot just give it to one department or the other, but that's something too that we're still just trying to find a way to work through it. The next item on the public safety and fire is the 866 calls, including 355 fires and 224 rescues in our city and county. Keeping in mind that our fire department did, in fact, as well as police department, did go to Tuscaloosa and helped out with the tornado damage there in Tuscaloosa during that time. We went. We went to help out and stayed there on many occasions. They stayed there overnight from their families to be a part of that process. And I want to thank our fire and police department for their assistance in there. But I do know the sheriff, not the sheriff, I'm sorry, the fire department. I know Chief Stokes, remember his going up there and spent a lot of nights up there and getting that done. I'd like to move on to the Public Works. As you can see, our Public Works Department working there, getting up the trash and litter in our city, which like I said is a monumental task. And you see the truck that we throw it on and things of this nature. And again, I say that these men and these ladies, and all of them, we need to find a way to do more. North Broad Street drainage projects was completed, Tippett Drive. We coordinated the code enforcement to improve cutting of overgrown lots and things of this nature was a part of that process as well. And you can see there, right there, that's right there on, I believe is that North Broad? Yeah, North Broad, that project is completed now and still needs some fine tuning on some things, but it's completed at this point. Next. Let's talk about code enforcement and what it has meant to our city. As you can see, the dilapidated houses identified in 2010 and 2011. You can see the number. In 10, we had 90 to dilapidated houses that we had to deal with, and of course 86 in 11. Structure demolishment. You can see the numbers there. Overgrown lots identified in 310 and reduced in 187 in 2011. Citations issued. Now there have been a lot of citations issued, as you can see. Those persons who've probably chosen not to conform or do what was asked based on the warnings. Over 1,315 citations were given in 2011 to those persons who, whatever reason may be, the home demolishing or either the grass cutting. And abandoned vehicles. As you can see the number there. And that's the picture over there, just an example of some of the things that we've had to deal with, or the code enforcement had to deal with in addressing those problems. Let's talk about parks and recreation. The fish pond, actually, it's in Ward 80, Selma. Young people having a great time fishing out there. I know there's been some poisoning, not poisoning, when I say poisoning, not poisoning by the individual, but the water itself has come up with a type of poison that some of the fish died as a result of that. Second or third time this happened, and we're now researching, trying to find the chemicals that would go in the pond that hopefully won't kill those fish that are out there. But looking at the Dixie baseball tournament, we can see our young people who won the championship there here in our city. Matter of fact, it was done at the complex. I had the pleasure of being out there working and holding the trophy up, congratulating our young people. And Chief Stokes, of course, along with his helper. I believe that was, is that Reverend Woods, right? Reverend Woods, who was assistant coach of that team. Outstanding ball club, and thank you very much for that. Let's move to the area of cemetery. We actually have 3 cemeteries that we actually clean and keep manicured. that Old Live Oak, New Live Oak, and Elmwood Cemetery. And of course, has a picture, and you can see the men even at the cemetery who work hard also to keep that area beautiful and neat as we take our loved ones there after their death. General government operations. These are things that have happened in general government operations. I'll just mention one or two. Of course, we had to look at our cell phone usage. We changed that and made some changes in that. Hopefully, it'll pay off at the end. That's the intent was, and the study has shown that we'll study the garbage collection. The garbage collection is certainly one of our nightmares right now, and had to apologize to a lot of people over the last few months about the garbage because the trucks breaking down and so forth, as well as the fact that the garbage program is not paying for itself. It is one that's a handicap to us as a city. The money we get from garbage is by no means takes care of its own. That's one of the areas that we must cover in terms of trying to find ways to tweak that, do something about it, because it is one it's an area that we just struggling with getting money. And we're working on trying to collect those outstanding debts of people who owe. But even at that, at $12 a month, it is not enough to maintain the garbage program at its present stage. So that's something we're working on. Building permit issued for new construction projects, repairs, and additions totaling $10.6 million in our city. Redevelopment. That's just an overview of the area view of Selma. That's an area overview of Selma that I wonder if anybody could come pick your house out there. I doubt it very seriously. I know I couldn't pick mine. They gave me $1 million. Next one. That's basically a neighborhood program that we have in our city. This is a part of the 2020 plan that was started some years ago during Ms. Stragos and former Mayor Smitterman put together that we're still working on. Each administrator, each mayor has come in and still tweaked it, and I'm sure when I'm gone, somebody will still be working on these projects. It's not something that you can do overnight. It's a work in progress. And this particular master plan right here, you can see here, you get a chance to come up and look at it if you like. But that's what that is. It gives you a perspective of all of the neighborhoods, historical neighborhoods and neighborhoods in our city by different color codes, and been working on it. Matter of fact, it's just recently this was adopted. I think it was it 2 years ago? 2 years adopted by our city council to move forward with the community master plan. And the following sheet actually goes through the master plan, specific items that each of you could review at a later date. And I won't go through them and trying to talk about all of them, because there are a lot of them up there in terms of sidewalks and storm drainage and all of these things are things that are on the forecast for us to do in the future. Redevelopment master plan continues, and again, we're still talking about the areas of our community and neighborhoods. And I'm gonna still move along. I'm trying to make sure we get through within a reasonable time. The next plan you see is a part of our riverfront. And all cities would love to have a river going right through its city, as we do. A lot of cities are envious of us. This is our walking trail that the council and mayor dedicated some months ago. Walking trail here, walking trail here. And this is where our amphitheater will be once it's completed. We're still working on that with the Office of Plan Development. Thank Ms. Charlotte Griffin and staff, as well as the council, are working to make this happen. And as I said to people, as I go around and I talk to people, I always tell them, if they come to Selma in a few years, they'll be able to come to Selma and be on Water Avenue and think they're on Bourbon Street. That's our goal and vision. Then also, if they stay there long enough and they get tired of being in New Orleans on Bourbon Street, they can just go around the backside of our Water Avenue and they'll believe they're in San Antonio, because we'll have our own river walk, our own boardwalk, and all of that's a part of that vision that we have for our city that I hope all of us have. No matter who is here, that's something we always want to have for our city's growth, for those who follow us, not for us. But that's the projection of that for redevelopment and waterfront. Now I'll move to the Interpretive Center. as you see, that's a beautiful site. Everybody loves that. They come across the bridge. The second and third floor are incomplete, just the first floor right now. And that second and third floor, especially that third floor, it is beautiful up there. It's a beautiful site. I just can't wait till we can finish developing it whereby we can have conference meetings or other type of committee meetings up there and look out over our city and see the beauty of it. The beauty of it. Now we see the before and after. You remember when we first did the interpretation, all of this kind of was looking kind of bad. Went to the council and asked the council, let's appropriate some money to change the facade. And you can see what we did. We painted all of that, and that's just a facade right there, really. There's an open area back there that we hopefully will make a park one day, but sitting park or something like that. But there's nothing behind that one. But the other two actually are structures and buildings. This is about a 40,000 square foot building here in that area there. Okay. Water Avenue streetscape. I think you've been to Water Avenue lately. You've seen the changes down there. There are going to be 4 sidewalk crossings that's going to come right across, right at the St. James, right there at Grumbles, right at the gateway to the park. That's when we complete the park there, as well as one there at the interpretation center that goes over the career ladder. So we'll have all those. It'll be so distinguished because they'll be done with brick across there and actually accented with that term. So we'll look forward to that as we see more of that in a few more weeks. Just look at this. That building there, you know, was there. It's no longer there. It collapsed like that. That's what we have there now. The council, mayor, and other organizations helped us who in a partnership to make that Phoenix Park what it is today. It is a wonderful site. People can go there and sit in the park, and we plan to have functions out there later on. Grass functions, bringing lawn chairs, jazz festivals. A movie could be also shown there that we plan to do in the future. So just keep your belt buckle, and we'll keep doing what we try to do to make things more attractive in our city and have more things for citizens to do. Economic development. As you can see, we have so much going on in economic development. These are our largest employers, but I wanted to highlight these, what you call, they have national recognition, international, I guess I need to say recognition. These particular Globe, American Apparel, Plantation, Bush Hall, and so on. All of those have international reference to our city. And it's just wonderful to say that these businesses, those larger businesses, bring us recognition and glory as they do. But there are so many others in here that we have in our city that our large employees for this city. So I won't bother to read them. I think that you probably know of some of them. If you don't, we'll certainly make it available to you. Economic development, again, industrial parks. We have 4 great industrial parks: Craigfield, Sheffield, Bell Road, and South Dallas. Every city would love to have what we have. Parks where businesses can go. I want to tell you, I know there are 3 businesses right now that are waiting to get some things done to move to our city. I mean, with jobs, high-paying jobs. And they're visiting our city right now, checking out everything, and probably talking to some of you about our city, asking you, what do you think about Selma? And I hope we're being positive about ourselves, saying it's a good place to live and raise a family. I hope we're saying that. And maybe we're saying something else. I don't know. But the point I make is that we all need to work together and try to talk positive about our city, in spite of things that might not be like we want them to be right now. But in time, you know, I'm convinced that God has his plan, and we think it's ours. It's not ours, it's his. So he'll do what's best for Selma, regardless of what anybody else does. He'll take care of all of that. And so I just say, you know, let's try to work together and make these things happen, no matter who's here, and be proud of the fact that we have these parks, that so many industries want to come here. And we're talking about 400 to 500 jobs to make that happen in our city and as well as in our county. Yes, let's go to the next. Now let's talk about economic development from the standpoint of announcement and expansion. Now I'm going to tell you, last year we only had 1 global metallurgic hired 5 people. That was a recession at its worst. Matter of fact, there are no other cities that had any other more than in the Black Belt than we did. It's just it was a bad situation. There were other cities that may have done a little bit better, but none like the numbers of population like we have. But let's look at 2010 in terms of things that have happened in our city in terms of the jobs and businesses that were either expansions in our city. Crown, Globe, American Apparel, Plantation Patterns. Council, 2009, Council with that number there, as I told this morning, it should be 0 right now. Well, it should be 0. It's about 4 or 5, because they're still in the works of moving forward. Their plan is a plan. Over 3 years, they would hire that many. But that particular Castle Rock is already there. They've already constructed everything. They're in the work of trying to meet the guidelines that's required by the federal government. But that's going to be 130 jobs once that's completed, once they can get all of the details done. But that's what that's about for our city. Let's move to the next one. Economic development, retail. 7 retail businesses generate approximately $307 million in retail sales in 2011. That's how much it's done. Retail accounted for 2,612 jobs in Selma during 2011. And people say there are no jobs here. There are jobs in Selma if people will go out and apply. I'm not saying you'll meet all the criteria and qualifications, but you should apply, because there are job opportunities in our city, and there'll be more coming. 10 new retail businesses opened in 2011. 172 new business licenses were issued in 2011. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on in our city that we need to, not beat our city up so much and try to be a part of the progress that's taking place for the benefit of the young people who follow us, okay? And again, business opens and renovations in our city. Here's a list of business opens and the renovations in our city. Look, the Walton Theater, as you know, we brought that's opening recently. Downtown Sports Bar, Fashion Metro, Loretta's, Steele's next week. This company right here will open in our city next to, Goodies, correct, thank you. Next to Goodies. Barnes & Noble is a company that, actually, a library that's on actually Wallace College campus. It's not ours, it's Wallace has that. Crown Chicken, the coffee shop, Farmers Insurance, Nicole's, Partners in Rehab, and so on and so forth. And some companies that did renovations, you know about New Orleans Bar and Grill did some renovation. Goodies is back, Burger King did renovation, Taco Bell did, Firestone and Mates is doing it. So, it goes on and on. Dallas County Seafood and Produce. These are things that happened in our city in the year of 2010 that occur in operations now, and that's, to me, just still a sign of progress in spite of the recession that we all had to face. Let's move to the next one. Business open as well as, again, still other companies that opened and made renovations. Look at them. Petway Party Shop, that's on Broad. Zaxby went and came back. Central Park. These places, Shark Fish and Chicken, all of these places are either they opened or had renovations in our city during that year of 2010, which I think is proud. I don't think of any other city that had the success and a blessing that we've had here in our city over the last couple of years. Okay, next. And these are ribbon cuttings. Archivine Cornell Building, ribbon cuttings that we've had, a private enterprise making that happen. Not city money, taxpayer, it's their money that they did that with through grants and other things. Here's another one, a Miracle Hand Styling Salon. Individuals made that happen. Planet AT&T, which is a part of AT&T telephone services, a part of our redevelopment. Let's move further with even this, the coffee shop, as you all know, is on Broad Street there. Partners in Rehabilitation, ribbon cutting. Amazing Image Photography, ribbon cutting. New Orleans Bar and Grill. Goodies, as you know, came back and hired over 200 people in our city just recently. And then next door to Goodies right now is going to be the one I call Steele. They'll be opening up next week, and people we hire. Okay. Downtown Sports Bar and Grill, as I said earlier, is Fashion Metro grand opening. And this is our movie theater. The ribbon cut there. Everybody wanted a movie theater. We've done the best we could to get one here to the best of our ability. It's not a 3 or 4 screen, naturally. We'd love to have all of that. But I think that if the citizens support this one, which they've done extremely well in supporting it, they have done an outstanding job of supporting it currently. And I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, who came in from Long Beach, California, who moved here and lived here for a while, and decided they want to get involved in what's going on in our city, and came to see me. And I told them what we were trying to do with Kay Jones and Jimmy Coleman. We're working, trying to find a way to get that off the ground over there at that movie theater. And so they did with Demopolis and Thomasville and Camden, and talked with these people about the reel-to-reel, and we chose not to go to reel-to-reel. We chose to go with the digital. And if you've been there so far, you know how nice it is over there. If you close those doors and close your eyes, you don't know where you are. Thank you. It is really nice. Our young people from Chatham Cabinet came in last week. All of the students who were honor students at school sent them there. They had a great time there last Thursday. Then Selma High brought all of its students there Friday. Those who had passed the exit exam as well as honor students, they brought busloads in, and they watched the Red Tails. So our kids are coming out, parents are coming out. I haven't heard nobody yet that has gone to say it was a bad idea. It certainly is something that we hope to build on, but I encourage you to support it. This coming Thursday will be the last showing of the Red Tails. This coming Friday, we'll start the movie called with Queen Latifah and Dolly Parton. We'll start on Friday and Saturday of this week. Please come out and watch it, and they'll be with us for a week or two with that program. What's the name of it? Make a Joyful Noise. We'll be here on Friday in our movie theater, so come out and watch that. And it'll be for 2 weeks. On Saturday, there will be a movie for the children. I can't remember the name of it, BJ, you remember? Little Mermaids, thank you all. Little Mermaids will be showing on Saturday morning at 10 for our young people. And then, of course, next Sunday on the 12th, we'll have this movie called Courageous on the 12th. Courageous, I think you may have seen it on TV. It's going to show at 2 o'clock on the 12th of February. Courageous. It's an outstanding religious movie, and we're proud of that. And I see Miss Jackson is here. Thank you for being here, Miss Jackson, for that. And so, like I said, there's always room for improvement, but hey, we start where we can, and we're moving from there. And thank you all for coming and support the movie theater concept. I believe our young people are happy with it, adults as well, and you can come and eat some good popcorn and candy and Cokes and enjoy yourself. The next is actually economic development, the tourism. I won't belabor that, but everybody knows Ms. Wyndham, who was a legend within herself, our city. We lost her some months ago, or years ago now, and certainly she made a difference in storytelling all over the world for our city. The tourism fact about the bridge crossing, the Battle of Selma, the Smithman Building, and all were things that bring in large money for our city, totaling up to about $5 million in revenue over the year from that tourism. Here's another one on tourism, dealing with our downtown revitalization, the banners that were put up, I think, to add to our city. And thanks to I think Selma Time Chamber and all who contributed to the city to make this happen. Thank you so very much. Next one. Then we have Brown Chapel Church. Many of you are members there. And my mother was a member there, and I was baptized there as a child. And so I have pleasant memories about Brown Chapel. And then, of course, we have the Martin Luther King Jr. Street Historical walking tour banners, and Mr. Bowie actually, out of his funds, took that and put those on Martin Luther King as for banners on that street, and thank him for that. Now we have the economic development tourists. These are historic district signs that are throughout our city in the historic district. Get a chance to go visit those. Community outreach. Just want to mention these briefly. As I said earlier, the Moments to Remember observance in Memorial Day. A young lady, a young man walking there in the Christmas parade, as you can see, and enjoying that, as others have walked as well in the Christmas parade, along with the Christmas young people there and our Christmas tree in City Hall that Brent Harris did for us as a volunteer. He put that there, and so thank you for that very much. Now, who's the next? This young man is having a ball. He's driving a fire truck, and he's in one of the trucks that we purchased during the open house, and of course McDuff and all of there as well, and looking about the open house during that time. Then our golf tournament we have for the benefit of raising money for the special needs children. As you can see that's been a very successful program. Many of you donated, many of you played, and we thank you very much for being a part of that fundraiser for our special children. Then, of course, our communication on the web. We have a website that's outstanding, in my opinion. We do all kinds of things there, and I'm still learning about all of that. I don't know how to, what those things they do with that Tweel, yeah, all that, and I'm just still trying to learn how to do everything with that stuff. I'm still way behind on that, but I have a Facebook, but it's a face only, and I'm just trying to still develop that, but that's how you can see so much about Selma right there. If you're not living here in your way, you get on that and look, you'll be in Selma at your own home. It's so much on there in terms of what's available to see about Selma, young people, elderly people, businesses, everything, events and so forth. So look at that in your spare time. Future direction. Let's try to come to a close. Here's some things that are projects for the future as we look at trying to continue to move forward. Redevelopment of the city marina. A call to action neighborhood action plan with churches and leaders is to try to find a way to get the litter and trash in our city up with people helping out. Neighborhood revitalization housing. We're looking at some housing now that we're going to be putting in our city, vacant lots that a company wants to come here and build these houses and sell them. They're going to be model homes throughout our city once we can finalize all of that. They'll be meeting with the city council this week to go over that blueprint. Safe routes to school, amphitheater, police substation, and other amenities on the riverfront. We're going to continue street reconstruction and resurfacing, sanitary sewer lines, repair and replacement, storm drainage repair and replacement, industrial park improvements, Craigfield Airport Authority improvements, expansion of the interpretive center. These are all projects that we are putting on there like the 2020 plan some years ago. These are plans for the future for our city. And as funds become available, these are things we want to do to make a difference in our city that's already been outlined, structured, and just a matter of now waiting on funding to do it. Several riverfront development, as you know, installation of new traffic signals, constructing new Selma Convention Center and hotel. We're going to need that as time goes on. And I tell people all the time, if you want to live in the city, you better get some land now, because later on there won't be a place to buy land in Selma. You have to go out in the rural area to live, because downtown, everybody will have all the property gone. So if you don't get it now, some years from now, Selma will be another city, and people will need to buy land now and hold on to it. That's my prediction. Well, whoever's here. Selma downtown parking deck. We need a parking deck. We believe with all that's going to happen on our riverfront, we need a parking deck. We just don't have enough parking. And that parking deck is a vacant lot right there by the interpretive center that belongs to the city. That's where we plan to put a parking deck for those first. And then the green transportation fleet. Wayfinding sign to the city. A public golf course and lodge. There's a company that wants to build that themselves. That's not one we're building. There's a company that's talked about a public golf course and lodge in our city. They want to invest in that and put that in our city. So we encourage them to come on. We'll work with you. Upgrade of Selma Waterworks. Support renovation upgrade for Selma schools. Money's in there with the hope of upgrading for Selma schools, so we can do the things that our children will have an opportunity to have better facilities and things of that nature. Construct and upgrade the city marina, recreation boat fleet, restore historical Good Samaritan Hospital is one of the projects that is a work in progress. Hands-on Children Museum is a part of that. Civil War Complex, Selma Youth Education Recreation Center, Stadium and Block Park expansion, city sidewalks, curbs and gutters if we ever get enough money. Now, most of our children, they don't use sidewalks for some reason. They rather walk in the street. But maybe we put some sidewalks in and curbs, maybe they will once they're there. But these are things that are ongoing. I can't tell you they're going to happen. All I can tell you, this is our vision. City government, this is our vision. We as councilman and mayor, we're working with the Office of Planning and Development to try to make these things happen once funding come. And I believe it will happen. I might not be here to see it all happen, but we're going to start it. We're going to start that process. Youth recreation facilities and so on and so forth. Selma Zoo facility, that's in the plan. urban landscaping, infrastructure expansion throughout the police jurisdiction. Alabama River pedestrian bridge, we want another bridge, a pedestrian bridge going across that river out of our city. Craigfield Industrial Port, Selma Aquarium, all of these are in the making as we speak. Systematic garbage and trash pickup, I told you we gotta do something about that. Build new landfill sales, neighborhood parks in each ward. We want neighborhood parks in each ward. Memorial Stadium Commemorative Park, there is already a park out there that talks about the soldiers in World War II and so on, World War I and II. We want to make that a huge, jet planes, all right, we're going to close all that and make that a real memorial park out there for heroes, sheroes, and things like that. So also, Songs of Selma Memorial Park. We want to do that down there on the river. That's another one of our long-range plan. Citywide housing, as I mentioned to you earlier. Now, move to this. I'm wrapping up. As you know, my theme last year, 3 years ago was new bridges to build, new bridges to build. And we do have new bridges to build. There's no question about that. And these bridges are based on a concept that I learned as a child at Hudson High School. Was a teacher, I believe Mr. Little, who made us learn all of that. I'll read it anyway, the poem. And I want to go through that poem right quickly here. And this is a poem that I learned as a child that brought about this theme for me as your mayor, as saying about new bridges to build, and it's based on this poem. And it reads, an old man going along highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim, that sullen stream had no fears for him, but he turned when he reached the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you are wasting strength in building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again must pass this way. You have crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you the bridge at the eventide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I have come, he said, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building the bridge for him, which leads me to that. So the new theme and concept now is that together we're building bridges. Together, we've started the process together. And in closing, I want to say that we have refreshments for those of you, I guess what you call it, that would like to have anything to eat. We can get your finger food type thing over there we're providing for those who like. And I want to thank all of you for being here.